Hari Om, chapter 18. I'm reminded of a story. Today's situation reminds me of the story of a farmer who went out with lots of bales of grass to feed the cows. And when he reached there, he found that only there was one cow in the field that day. The others had either wandered off somewhere else, or were grazing somewhere else. And so, what was the right thing for the farmer to do? His friends told him, of course you should come back, go another day. And the farmer said, no, my right buddhi says that even if there is one cow, I cannot return without feeding that one cow. And so he did what was the right thing to do. So, in fact, in chapter 18, we are going to talk about Sattvic Buddhi, or Buddhi of Rajasic and Tamasic kind also. It is only Buddhi that gives us the judgment, right judgment, to do this or not to do it. And Bhagwan is telling Krishna exactly that whatever your understanding of life, that's the way your actions will be directed, and that's the manner in which you are going to project your personality, the karta. The personality will be exactly the same as your beliefs, and also the buddhi, the intellect is going to have the same flavor as your understanding. So they're all connected. But I have only one kind of understanding, and I'm one personality, karta, and I have one buddhi, intellect. Yes, but Bhagwan says they all have three characteristics. Everything has three gunas or characteristics. Your buddhi, your karma, your karta, personality, and your understanding, that is your jnana, belief. Now, where I am going to be directed depends on my buddhi, my belief, my intellect, which is also shaping my personality. So this kisan could have, the farmer could have returned saying, oh well, let me feed them when they are all together, and he could have come back saying that I don't want to waste my one bale of grass. That would be quite rajasic. There would be one farmer who would probably say that, oh, today I don't feel like going to the farm anyway. Tomorrow, in any case I'm going tomorrow. So let the cows go hungry today. Tomorrow I'll give them their share. That's very, very tamasic. The Sattvic Buddhi Kisan said, yeah, the right thing to do is, because the cows are waiting, I have to go out there to the farm. And he did go there, and he found there was no one, and still he offered that one bale of grass, left it behind for the cow. Now, Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic decision is made by whom? By the buddhi, which is itself colored in a Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic color. And therefore, when our actions are directed by it, we are not aware. We are not aware that we are being directed by a Sattva guna, or a Rajas guna, or a Tamas guna. And we go on acting. And we could be acting in the best interest. Best interest of whom? If I am acting only in my own best interest, selfish, then it's a Tamasic buddhi, isn't it? And if I am not taking care, I as the farmer or anybody else in the world, or even Arjun, not taking care to see that my action is going to benefit somebody else and a larger community, someone out there, I have to make a difference in the life of someone else, that Arjun would not become despondent and confused at all. Krishna would say, where is the confusion? Arjun, your fighting this battle is going to bring dharma back to the kingdom, because there's too much of adharma because of the Kauravas and Dhritarashtra and their selfishness, and you know the nature, and therefore the praja, the citizens of this kingdom are going to suffer. If you have to bring dharma, you are acting for the larger good. Any action taken for the larger good, you don't have to be confused at all. And yet Arjun is confused. This is what happens to us many a time, because we are not watchful of what is the right thing to do, and our buddhi is directing us, and the buddhi has to be fed on the right literature, the right learning, and the right beliefs. Otherwise the intellect is not trained enough to choose the right path. That's what Arjun is being told by Krishna. Why is Arjun confused in the first place? Simple, his attachment to his relatives. So also in our life, when we are attached to things and to people around us, we cannot take the right decision. A decision which is good for everyone. That decision is not possible, the right one. Because it's already driven by selfishness, mere liye, and it is driven by mera hai, attachment, my people. So, for example, if there is a choice that water was going to be released only for my society for that one day, sometimes there's a big water crisis in this region, and there was an announcement that the corporation would release water only for one day and only in our society. And very close to our society is another building where they have been deprived of water for the past, not one day, but 1 week. What would be the right thing to do? So if I was the secretary of my society, I would say, no, I have to preserve and conserve water for my society members, because I don't know tomorrow if we may be in a crisis. Okay. That would be very, very Rajasic. And you know that the very building next door has suffered for a week. I may say that, okay, we can order a tanker this week, but the water which has been released by the corporation, I can afford to share. Or not all of it, of course. I have to take care of my survival and the members of my, but I can share some so that they survive. The basic needs are fulfilled, and I may take a decision. I have given this example because this decision is almost never, if ever, taken by society members, especially in terms of water crisis and basic needs like this. A society may choose to share because they're not going to die just by sharing. They have enough for their needs. That is a sattvic decision. But a selfish decision says, my family, what will happen tomorrow? My members, what will happen tomorrow? That attachment to mera and my will say, no, I'll keep my share of the water, let the corporation decide. Now that's a Rajasic decision. And Tamasic decision is, I don't care what happens. As long as I have water in my taps now, who cares? So I may not even offer it to my next door neighbor, or leave alone my next door society or next door building. That Tamasic, Rajasic and Sattvic is happening all the time. Our decisions are happening all the time, but we don't know. They are all colored. So now Bhagwan has already given some information and some gyan about the actions we take in this world. And our actions also will be Sattvic, Tamasic and Rajasic, naturally. So verse number 20, just a quick recap. Chapter 18, Bhagwan said, Sarva bhuteshu ye naikam bhavamavyayamikshate. That kind of knowledge or belief. The Sattvic belief is that Sarva bhuteshu, that presence of the divine is everywhere and in everything. So a Sattvic buddhi will say, why am I distinguishing? Why am I not releasing the waters of my river to the neighboring state of Karnataka or Kerala or wherever there is a need? I see Sarva Bhuteshu, I see that divine in everything. Who says this? The Sattvic belief of a person. What about the Rajasic belief? The Rajasic belief says, verse number 21, quick recap. Prithak vena tu yad jnanam nana bhavan prithak vidhan. I see everybody as different. My people, me, my family as different, my nation as different, my language, my society, my dharma, my kul, my jati, and of course I see myself as a personality, my rang, roop, everything I see as different. Prithak vidhan. That is a Rajasic buddhi. This is what we had seen last time. And therefore, when we see so much of difference in the world, because below the surface, we cannot see the main tattva, the essence, which is there in everything and which is the same. Essence has to be the same. Otherwise, there would be so many universes on this earth. There cannot be. One creation, one tattva, one essence. That's below the surface. we are interacting only at the surface level. Only at the surface level I see only the differences, and therefore I react. Ye mera, ye tera. This has to be shared, this can't be shared. My success, your success. All these differences I see as my reactions because I see differences in everything. What about the tamasic belief? Number 22 verse. Yattu kritsnava dekasmin karye saktam mahetukam. The tamasic buddhi actually has no grounding at all in tattva gyan. Essence क्या है? मैं सब में एक देख रहा हूँ कि अलग देख रहा हूँ, वो एसेंस है कि नहीं? वो एसेंस और तत्व जिसको कहते हैं उसका ज्ञान बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. So there is complete darkness there. But these people, they say yattu kritsnama vedekam. That means what I believe has a complete knowledge. I believe that I am here to gain pleasures for myself, and as long as I am enjoying the pleasures of society and family and people and food and wealth, what is the problem? That is my truth. And they believe that that joy is the complete truth. So they are not looking for any higher truth or universal truth, or let's say the absolute truth. These little joys are enough for them. And the worst thing is that tamasic people, or tamasic gyan, let's say, tamasic knowledge, also becomes very fanatic. My belief is the last. I don't want to hear any more logic from you or anybody else. I don't want to hear the logic of the scholars, because I am okay with my comfort level and my understanding. They get fanatic about what they believe is right and wrong. And what they believe in right and wrong is completely based on the pleasures of sansar, hedonistic and materialistic. So it's most difficult is to break through the tamasic gyan of people. And so the sattvic lifestyle, the rajasic lifestyle and the tamasic lifestyle will reflect in quality according to their belief system. Whether they believe that everyone is the same, the tattva is the same, the divinity lies in everything and everywhere, sarva bhuteshu, then their lifestyle and their behavior will be different. Naturally, they will be more inclusive. They will not create unnecessary divisions and create more and more sanghas. You know that this is only for my community. My celebrations of Dashera will be in my community and the invitations will go only to my community. A lot of these sanghas are formed. Yes, they are also formed in order to preserve the culture and the customs of that community. But the moment we start excluding others from the same celebrations and activities, it becomes a divisiveness. And we don't see all this. We see, we are celebrating Dashera and Durga Puja and Navratri and Diwali and everything. I'm doing it according to my customs. But below the surface, you see how much society is dividing itself if we exclude others from our activities, our celebrations, etc. But all said and done, barring a few exceptions, by and large, India has shown a great amount of inclusiveness. It is coming from this gyan. For centuries, people have been taught this gyan. And therefore, this inclusiveness, this acceptance, this harmony in so much of diversity of language and culture and food, all that has stood the test of time because of this learning. This learning has taught people that, look, that divinity cannot be different. You cannot divide that divine tattva. You can divide your culture and language and etc., but not that tattva. That understanding somehow, whether it has come directly through the Shastras or passed on through the family folklore or traditions or stories or moral values in families, no matter what the source, but it becomes a part and parcel of the culture and the swabhava of the Indian people, to be more inclusive. Things may be changing now. Of course they would, with the influence of Western education, globalization, this, that and the other, but by and large, it has, culturally, it has stood together from this learning. And now this Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic, Bhagavan said, will show in your karma, naturally. Again, this is a very quick recap, verse number 23. What does the sattvic person do in order to exhibit his karma? Niyatam sangarahitam aragadveshatah kritam. The words are so beautiful. Niyatam. He will do those actions which are ordained by the Shastras. That means do your duty, whatever has been ordained, and see that your actions gain your highest potential. So suppose I have my highest potential in art or music or teaching or in medicine or in architecture, then that is my calling. It's my duty to give my 100% to that profession, and one does it as in order to reach the highest potential in oneself. See, what is the best I can do in this profession? Niyatam, sangarahitam, and I do it without attachment. I meaning the sattvic karma person, okay? And aragadvesha, of course, without rag or attachment. And aphala prepsuna. Aphala prepsuna. So three things are mentioned about the karma of a sattvic person. The sattvic karma will be asanga, non-attached, aphala prepsuna, not longing and hankering for the fruits of action, aragadvesha, not motivated by likes and dislikes. Now, that's a tall order, because most of us at some point are swayed by our attachments and likes and dislikes, including someone like Arjun, who is highly educated. But having said that, Bhagwan says that Rajasic karma is also done by those who have a Rajasic belief in the world. What is that? Verse number 24. Yattu kamepsuna karma sahankarena va punaha. Such a person does action, he does well, he works very hard, but sa ahankarena, uska कर्म थोड़ा सा दूषित, थोड़ा नहीं काफी ज्यादा दूषित हो जाता है, कंटेमिनेटेड, टेंटेड हो जाता है, बिकॉज ऑफ अहंकार, कि मैंने इस दुनिया में इतना हासिल किया, इतना काम किया, इतना अकम्प्लिशमेंट्स है मेरे, एंड दैट अहंकार, दैट ईगो makes the person self-centered. So Bhagwan is saying, whatever those actions, they may be great actions of offering charity to orphanages, building hospitals, and redevelopment of slums, whatever you do, if you have done it with ahankara, it is washed out and it will become Rajasic karma, and it will gather, it won't gather so much punya karma as you are expecting from God. God, give me punya karma, I have done this. God is saying, okay, I am making a ledger in which I also balance it out with your ahankar. Your actions are good, but ahankar will balance it out, cross it out. So, what happens to the people who are acting with great ambition and with desire for मान and सम्मान मिलेगा, ये मिलेगा, वो अहंकार तो होता ही है, लेकिन मुझे प्रशंसा भी चाहिए. At the end of so much of frenzied activity, they end up becoming very fatigued. मतलब वो उनका कर्म उसके बाद वो थके से लगते हैं. Their vitality gets sapped and they are straining themselves. A sattvic person, when he knows that this is something I love doing and will do it because it's the right thing to do, very rarely will he get mentally fatigued. You will notice that. Rarely. And so Rajasic person ends up becoming very tired and stressed out. And a tamasic karma in verse number 25. Even karma has tamasic, rajasic and sattvic qualities, just as our man and our buddhi and our personality has. So, the karma of a tamasic person, verse number 25. Anubandham kshayam hinsam anavekshya cha paurusham mohadarambhyate karma yatta tamasamuchyate. Such a person who is doing tamasic action, he doesn't even bother to consider whether my actions are going to have an unpleasant reaction or unpleasant impact on somebody else around me. So that person is totally insensitive. कि मेरे एक्शन से दूसरे पर क्या असर पड़ेगा. He is kind of unmindful and careless about it. So, okay, होता होगा, but I have to do what I have to do, and I'll chase my pleasures the way I want. I will get what I want from this sansar. That's the mindset of the tamasic person. That person also saps his own vitality and energy. Vitality. Unmindful and careless about the consequences. दूसरों पर और स्थिति पर, बाहर की सिचुएशन पर मेरे एक्शन से कभी विपरीत असर तो नहीं पड़ेगा. I have to take care of that, but a tamasic person rarely does that. And what are the personalities? The karta, sattvic personality, and the rajasic and tamasic of such a karta, such a person with such a karma. Okay, so verse number 26. Karta here we stands for, next 3 verses will describe only karta. Verse number 26, 27, 28 will describe only karta. Who is the karta? That personality. That personality with certain likes and dislikes and aversions and attachments or selfishness or selflessness. जो भी हमारी qualities है वो हमारा कर्ता personality है. So number 26 says सात्विक कर्ता भी हो सकते हैं हम. यहाँ आवी सात्विक, let's see. मुक्त संगो न हम वादी धृत्यु साहसमन्वितः. Free from attachment. We have seen this very often. Mukta Sangha means free from attachment. Can I do any action free from attachment? Yes, we have seen so many people working in the medical profession. There's a nurse that you can just sit, if you ever visit a hospital and you are with a friend and things are going on and you have to wait, just watch the nurses quietly in a corner and you will find that they are not attached to any particular patient. Emotionally, they are not attached. But they conduct themselves with so much of energy and enthusiasm and cheerfulness. Where does it come from? It comes from the understanding that I am free from attachment, but I am not free from my duty. I am doing my duty, and in that doing, I am fulfilled. That is the swabhava, the demeanor, the characteristic of someone like a nurse. Why does it? We see it more prominently in nursing and teaching professions, but or even among doctors in the medical profession. But that does not mean that others don't have it. It's just that people who are in the field of social work, for example, looking after slum children, educating them, or sanitation, or looking after environment, fighting for the environment, okay. There are people with a sattvic personality, with a very strong sattvic personality, who get pushed by their own motivation into these fields of nursing and medicine and teaching and tending to other people and social work, and yes. But there are all the fields of action in which all the fields, business and kshatriya and army and navy and all the professions of engineering and architecture and design, name any profession, and the sattvikta can be brought into that field. And we say, nahi, Bhagwan is saying mukta sangha, aisa hota nahi hai. Then watch, you can see it in people, in social workers, in nurses. They're not attached people, but they bring the most energy as soon as they enter into the ward, when everybody else is feeling down and low and morose. How is that? Then, because Bhagwan says, na hamvadi, there is no ego attached, कि मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, अरे मैंने इनका wound का dressing कर दी, अरे मैंने इनको injection दे दिया. How ridiculous that would be if a nurse would start beating her own, blowing her own trumpet, saying कि मैंने ये कर दिया. Not at all. It doesn't even occur to her. Similarly, in our own life, we have so many commitments to society, to people, to my neighbors, neighboring society, कि अरे भाई उनको भी पानी मिलना चाहिए, उनको भी garbage management का कोई NGO आया है, I must introduce them so that wastage is reduced. Whatever is good for me, I would like to share around. That feeling comes from na ahamvadi, is Bhagwan's second word in the first line. Dhrityu sahasamanvitaha, and that is why dhrityu sahas, samanvitaha. That's why they are endowed with firmness, determination. You will not find the feet or the words of these social workers, of these medical practitioners faltering and hesitant and weak. No, there is no weakness. There is dhriti there. According to Bhagwan, there is firmness because they are working without aham. And that they are working with enthusiasm, sahas, and they are endowed with all this. Sahas means enthusiasm. Now, this consistency and perseverance, which is needed in all the fields of action, we see it sometimes. Bhagwan is saying, Arjun, I want to see it in you. Only then you can transform society. You can be a just king to the kingdom and transform the nature and culture of the citizens. A just king and a philosopher king is the only one who can transform society. I want to see that firmness and enthusiasm in your duty, in the performance of your duty, Arjun. If you can't do it, the citizens can't do it. They are going to be weak-minded people, just like you are. You meaning Arjun, right now, having put down your bow and arrow, that I am confused. No confusion. For someone who is doing the duty without aham, without ahankar, there is no confusion. I have been ordained, I have been told this has to be done. I give my 100%. It gives me more energy, more joy, and you have seen it in so many professions. That doesn't mean I can't do it in where I am, in my family, among my friends, in my social functions. Doesn't mean I can't do it. Anaham vadi. Let me be first without aham. This is the visheshta. This is the main visheshta of the Sattvic Karta. Dhrityusaham. Of course, they are consistent. ये नहीं कि एक दिन मैंने injection दे दिया. I'm just taking the example of a nurse because that's the most, it stands out in terms of enthusiasm, of cheerfulness, of performance, of firmness and consistency. Consistency and means एक दिन हमने अच्छा काम किया, दूसरे दिन no, I don't feel like it. चलो उनको शाम को दवा दे देंगे. I'm feeling a bit lazy now. शाम को the patient is going to suffer if you don't give the medication needed right now. So punctuality, consistency, and all the demands that are made on her. This also goes for the teachers that we have seen in schools, some of the teachers. You see the utsaha. Where is that word mentioned? Dhrityu utsaha. Yeah, in the first line. Dhrityu utsaha samanvitaha. That Bhagwan says, that utsaha and enthusiasm, not reluctantly but cheerfully. Then he says, Siddha siddhyor nirvikaraha karta satvika uchyate. Such a person then is sama. Sama, it means, of course, without disturbance, equanimity. So a person who is maintaining the equilibrium in success and failure. Arey, that injection didn't work. What should I do? So I start panicking and I give up my job and I run away. No, there will be failure. A certain doctor, he performs a certain operation. Sometimes it fails, sometimes it's successful. He gives his 100%. He sweats it out. He consults his colleagues. He has a team of people and he doesn't do it carelessly. That doctor may still face failure in some cases, but सिद्ध सिद्धियो, सिद्धि भी हो सकती है, असिद्धि भी हो सकती है. In any profession, in any task that we take, I'm just giving some examples. Siddhi, asiddhi is a part of life, success and failure. But this person, Bhagwan says, of a sattvic karta person, siddhi siddhyo nirvikaraha, doesn't get agitated. Prasannata or khinnata, doesn't get overexcited nor dejected, because he keeps it in mind that my work is important. The completion of my work to perfection is important. Once I do it, my fulfillment is there. तो उसके अलावा मैं कौन सा fruit ढूंढ रहा हूँ? What kind of other फल or reward am I looking for? No, I am fulfilled. I have done it. So for such a person, work is more important. Work of his choice, whatever he has chosen. And usually it is his own kartavya. So our functions are so many commitments in family and society, in the preservation of our culture, in the preservation of our scriptures. Yes, we have a duty towards it. Not by just waving the Gita around and saying, yes, I pray to the Gita, but having real Gyan and being able to share it and live it. That's the only way we can preserve the culture. That's also one of the ordained duties, Rishi Yagya. That's called Rishi Rin. So there are so many duties which have been ordained, and Deva Yagya and Bhuta Yagya. How can we escape any of the duties? And we have to do it an ahankara, of course, without an ego, because that is my obligation and my rin, that is the debt I owe to all this. Such a person, sattvic person, believes all this, that work is more important. My own personal like and dislike, oh, I don't like that patient. You know, that patient shouted at me in the morning, I'm not going to give the regular medicine. It doesn't even come to the mind of a medical practitioner. No matter how nasty, and the patient will naturally sometimes be nasty because they're already suffering and they're not in control of their anger, their frustration, their suffering, and therefore they bring out more and more compassion in the nurse and in the doctor, in fact, not a reaction. But a person who reacts will react to that frustration of the patient. So we can't afford to have a Rajasic personality in so many of these professions where there's care needed, because people will react. But here we are talking about work which is of a very high quality. Very high quality work is rendered by a Sattvic Karta, but without a thought about maine kiya and it is for me. It's not for me. But I failed. I tried my best and it didn't work. And the person still goes on. So sometimes, yes, nurses and doctors, I have seen them break down and feel upset because very, very long cases, if they have seen, then they get attached to, yes, I want to cure, I want to see this person healthy and up on his feet or her feet. Yes, that's a kind of natural desire, but that desire is not meant to break them. It may happen, it may not happen, they move on, and they know that, because this nurse knows that the hospital is just an island where births are happening, deaths are happening, successes are happening, and failures are happening. It's just an island, that hospital. Therefore, she moves on calmly, quietly, and with serenity and poise and calm and compassion. She moves on day after day. And that hospital, that island, sees death and disease and despondency or sorrow or success or failure every day. Yes, that hospital sees it, because that's the island. In the same way, this sansar is that island where births will happen and deaths will happen and rog will happen and nirog will happen, and so there is janma and mrityu, jara, vyadhi, old age. This is an island where everything will happen and it will pass on. But like that nurse, can we just move on and keep completing our duty and our business for what the duty for which we have come here? Because on that hospital island, the nurse says, I am here to serve. So I will just be here every morning, get ready and be here to do what? Not to take part in the sorrow and the joy, and not to take part in the grief or the excitement or the success or the failure. She never does that. How silly that would look. She says, I am here to serve. Can we live like that, with that mindset? That is what Bhagavan is saying as a sattvic mindset for Arjun also. That just believe that you are here to serve. So if there are demands and commitments from your family which says ki ye karna hai, ab wo karna hai, and you don't have time, and yet there is some whatever you can commit to given your capacity. अब capacity के बाहर भी नहीं कर सकते. Within that capacity, commitments जो हमने ले लिया, we have to take those commitments of friends and relatives and family and society and nation. Tomorrow the nation may stand up and say, look, you have to give 100 grams of gold to the nation because we are under attack. 100 grams of gold everyone has to sacrifice so that the nation has money and we can protect ourselves. nation can demand anything tomorrow. Everything that is required of us, we can treat as I am here to serve. अगर मेरे पास सामर्थ्य है, शक्ति है, वो मैं कर सकता हूँ, if I can offer that service, I am happy. I should be grateful कि अरे आपको इसकी जरूरत थी और मेरे पास देखो सही वक्त में सही मात्रा में वही चीज मौजूद थी, ये लो. I am happy. I am thrilled to be able to be of service. ऐसी सात्विक बुद्धि होती है, सात्विक कर्ता की. And this, by the way, this example about gold is not off the top of my head. I think there was some such demand at the time of our independence movement, when all the families were expected to give up one day of food or something, to just fast one full day, so that food would be preserved. So can you imagine if so many millions of people not eating just one day in a week, any one day, and that much food is preserved and not expended. And they were also asked to donate a certain amount to the nation's treasury, etc., etc. So this example is just of a nation being in crisis. In the same way, there are people around us, and there is family, and there are professions. There is my corporate, where the business houses in which I work, they have certain requirements. Ki, Are, now things are pretty low for us, and our stocks have gone down. Can you give up your salary or your bonuses for this year? And we should be able to do it without complaining. But I've seen people who have worked for 10 years in a company, and they have been looked after by the company in terms of health insurance and family insurance and entertainment and all the perks that they've enjoyed for 10 years. And one day the stocks of the company waver, and it requires the employees to give up something. There will be some who will do it joyfully and say, look, I owe it to my company, they've looked after me and my family. They are the sattvic karta. There will be those rajasic who will say, no, my bonus, my right, I have worked for 11 months, is saal ka mera bonus kahan hai, and fala, and you have heard them. This cacophony, this noise, you go out into the world and you have heard it. We have all heard it, that there are people who will still stand up and demand their bonus. Why? Because they are of a rajasic buddhi, rajasic kartapan है उसमें. तो इसमें कोई ताजुब की बात नहीं है. It is just the nature of their personality. The karta is rajasic. So they haven't trained themselves, or their family, society and education has not trained these kind of rajasic complainers, let's call them complainers and cribbers, that they are here to serve, to surrender, to bear whatever has to be borne in a crisis, and to perform. If you look at a nurse or people, as I keep giving the example of social workers and medical and teaching profession, because this is where I have seen, and in very rare cases also in the for-profit organizations where people have that attitude. Of course they're making profit because they're in business, but they have that attitude of, I am here to serve, to surrender, to bear and to perform. ये कर्ता पर्सनालिटी रहती है सात्विक लोगों की. तब हम देखते हैं राजसिक लोगों को प्रॉब्लम क्या है. That we will see in the next verse, number 27. रागी कर्म फल प्रेप्सुः लुब्धो हिंसात्मको शुचिः हर्ष शोकान्वितः कर्ता राजसः परिकीर्तितः. This kind of person, ragi means quite attached. मेरा काम, मेरापन, मेरा work, my project and my work. He is filled with ragi and karma phal. Results have to be mine. तो उनका जो attachment रहता है मेरा काम और मेरा फल, that makes the person very, very greedy. Lubdha. Second phrase in the first line. Lubdha, greedy for more. If I am successful, I want more. Otherwise, मुझे और क्यों चाहिए? क्योंकि I am already ragi, attached to कर्म फल मेरा, ये वस्तु मेरी, ये पदार्थ मेरा, ये व्यक्ति मेरा, ये प्रोजेक्ट मेरा, इसका फल भी मेरा होना चाहिए. इसके साथ जो मुझे मिल गया वो और मिलना चाहिए. लुब्धः, greedy. That thirsting for more is a typical characteristic of a rajasic karta. Sometimes we recognize it in ourselves, sometimes we recognize it in others. But right now, hey Arjun, tells Krishna to Arjun, please recognize it if it is part of you. If it is, then there is some inner engineering needed for us to transform our lives and move upwards. Because we cannot have a higher life if we are stuck at this level. So a Rajasic person will always say कि ये मान, मैंने जितना काम किया है उसका मान, प्रतिष्ठा, कीर्ति, धन, पुत्र, पौत्र जो मुझे मिला है वो सब मेरा मेरा मेरा. नहीं मिला, दूसरों को मिल गया, अरे पड़ोसी को मिल गया, अरे दूसरे कॉलीग को मिल गया, अरे दूसरी कंपनी को मिल गया. आई वॉज होपिंग फॉर दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, अनदर कंपनी गॉट इट. आई वॉज स्टैंडिंग फॉर दिस इलेक्शन एंड ऑल माई वोट्स वर टेकन अवे, एंड देयर ऑल द anger, the envy comes out in me at that time. Till then I'm fine. I'm saying, oh, I'm a very good righteous person. And normally we are righteous. In the sense we are going on a steady keel and अपना course भी set है, मैं अपना काम से काम रख रहा हूँ, working and earning a small salary and looking after my family. I'm quiet. The moment desire kicks in and attachment, कि ये result क्यों नहीं आया जो मुझे चाहिए था. So that person gets not only aggressive because of the ambition, but that aggression shows as Bhagwan says in the first line, hinsatmako shuchihi, becomes impure because of that aggressive violence. Violence means what? I must forge ahead at the cost of anything. चाहे दूसरों का नुकसान होता हो, चाहे वो पीछे छूटते हो, चाहे I have to tread on their toes in order to move ahead, I will move ahead. मेरा business is what I need right now. So I don't care about what happens to others. So if I am hurting somebody, depriving people of their rights, rightful whatever they require, it doesn't matter. Rajasic Karta says, it doesn't matter. I have to gain my end. So this Bhagwan says is hinsa. अगर हम अपने ही उद्देश्य के लिए whatever our little materialistic goals, if we are chasing it with such aggression, then Bhagwan says, sorry, you have to see that we are causing no hurt feelings and no damage to things and people around as we forge ahead in that mad and crazy aggressive ambition. He calls it hinsatmak. That's Bhagwan's word. And therefore this hinsa begins to show in the antahakaran. Our antahakaran, that means our own composure, our own mental composure is disturbed. So naturally this hinsa is done against ourselves also. Our own antahakaran gets disturbed. So the hinsa and the violence is also directed towards our own mind, and our own sensitivity is damaged and our own peace of mind is damaged, and then I sap my vitality, get tired from this kind of ambitious action. तो हिंसा बाहर भी हुई, अंदर भी हुई. ये समझना जरूरी है for राजसिक कर्ता. Now we may say कि ये सब तो ठीक है, हम अभी सुन रहे हैं, हमारी तो जिंदगी निकल गई, I finished, I've retired from work and all. But have we ever wondered where in heaven did people, most people in society, get this rajasic pravritti? We are all born with almost a clean slate. Yes, for our survival, yes, we are selfish. Ki even a small baby will say, "Mujhe ye chahiye." That's okay. But education is one place, and early education and schooling and family training. These are the places where this rajasic pravritti can be weaned out, but we haven't taken care to do it because we were busy training our children and grandchildren to forge ahead, to perform and to be ambitious, to be successful, to demand results. And doesn't matter what happened to the guy, other guy in your class. I saw a video, I don't know if I've mentioned it. I saw a video of my nephew when he was in play school, and he said, look, I want to show you a video when I was in play school and I was cutting my cake, and I had a celebration of my birthday in my class, and my teacher also included me, included everyone in the class, and we saw this nice little crowd of tiny tots and jumping in glee, and the usual scene, usual stuff. Everyone was so happy in that particular. I just saw a small clip of it. Everyone was so self-engrossed in their own celebration, or the lalsa for that cake, or the fun that they were expecting to happen, or was just generally. Actually, there are very few expectations. Children just enjoy everywhere. So they were happy, and the teacher also involved in making sure that the cake was properly cut and singing. In that video, the camera had caught one small child far away from this little cluster, sitting all by himself, his head turned away from this celebration. Who was he? What was bothering him? Why was he there away? Why was he there away from the rest of them? Who bothered to find out? But ये तो सिर्फ बच्चे थे. I'm not saying. I'm saying हम बड़े होकर भी वही करते हैं. We are so involved in my celebration, my happiness, my events of my life, and I want participation of more people in the events of my life. I want them to contribute to the big events of the weddings of my children and this. I want so much of their participation. Sometimes I am not even bothered to look around to see, is anyone left out, feeling left out because of something that's happened? Can I find out what happened that has led to this kind of person becoming secluded and reclusive? I don't have the vision for it. ये तो छोटे बच्चे थे, and of course there was a teacher who should have noticed. But in our adulthood, if we are behaving like children, we don't notice that there are some people suffering, there are some people who are dejected, something has happened, and I'm so busy in my loud revelry and celebrations and parties and gatherings. I'm busy now, I have to dress up and go to this function and that dandiya and this dance. Oh, so busy in that noise of mujhe pleasure chahiye, in that noise is mostly in our own head. I am unable to see कि अरे मैं भाग भाग के जा रहा हूँ, ये celebration, वो celebration, यहाँ दशहरा, वहाँ दशहरा. And 3 times in a day I cross the watchman who's sitting right there quietly, not one mithai at his table, and his family away from him. दशहरा उसके लिए भी है, हमारे लिए भी है. तो हम भाग भाग के जा रहे हैं, दुर्गा पूजा, ये पंडाल, वो पंडाल, and dressed heavily. I'm just saying because this vision is recent in our memory of Navratri celebrations having been celebrated this very week. The vision is so strong कि इतना जब revelry and sound and noise हो रहा था, there were so many people without mithai, without fruit, away from their families. किसके साथ मनाएं? दशहरा और दिवाली और दुर्गा पूजा तो उनका भी होता है ना. Can we do something? Just stop for 1 minute once the lift comes to the ground floor. Look around. No. So that is the kind of sensitivity in the antahkaran that Bhagwan is saying is destroyed. That means we have become hinsatmak. It's a strong word used by Bhagwan saying, yes, we are violent. We are exercising this violence of insensitivity in society all the time. Why can't we celebrate? Who said we have to celebrate only by dancing in the celebration? Can we go to an orphanage and bring lots of new dances and dresses to them too? There are so many ways to celebrate, so many ways. Can we make sure that wherever we are, in that room at least, by room I mean in that society, there is not one person sitting away dejected, and if he is or she is, can I find out what is it all about? So the person says, the Rajasic person says, who cares? Mera selfishness, my aim of success and my vengefulness is so strong, and that it is hammering away at my own heart and mind. Destruction kiska ho raha hai? That hammer, that sledgehammer of selfishness, the sledgehammer of vengefulness, that sledgehammer of mera enjoyment first, mera success first, the rest can take care of themselves, is the sledgehammer which is destroying our own spiritual life. Sledgehammer. So sattvic karta is motivated by what? By spiritual growth. Rajasic karta is motivated by materialism and material ambition, कि मुझे enhance करना है, अपना material enhance करना है. And therefore, because of his so much involvement in merapan, Bhagwan says in the second line, Harsha shokanvitah kartaha. वो हर्ष और शोक, that is, he is tossing between elation and dejection, between sorrow and joy. You don't need to toss, because if you are not so selfish, we don't need to toss between sorrow and joy. That is the boat that Bhagavad Gita is offering us. Ki come and sit in this boat of knowledge, of jnana, of sattvikta. It will not rock you. Yes, the ocean will be turbulent, but you will be given the equipment such that your boat does not sink. That is the jnana being given. But no, we are saying ki sattvic person says, I'm doing it because I'm here to serve. Rajasic person says, I'm doing it because I need a certain result. What does the tamasic person karta say? Tamasic karta says in verse number 28, Ayukta prakrita stabdhaha shatho naishkritiko lasaha. Such a person, so many adjectives Bhagwan used. Ayukta prakritaha stabdha shataha naishkritaha alasaha vishadihi. It seems that Bhagwan has used the choicest of adjectives and a maximum number of adjectives, 8 in number actually, only for the tamasic karta. That means that we have a warning bell from Krishna saying stay away from this kind of kartapan. This kind of kartapan, which is tamasic. What are the adjectives? And Bhagwan has used the maximum number. And that is ayuktaha. Ayukta prakrita stabdhaha shatho naishkritiko lasaha vishadi dirgha sutri cha karta tamasa uchyate. Prakritaha, first one. No vichar about one's life. मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, किस लिए कर रहा हूँ, इसका अर्थ क्या है, सार्थक है कि नहीं. There is no vichar, no reflection, no contemplation. Prakritaha. So a person becomes, this prakrita literally also means uncultured. So Chinmayaji describes vulgarity as that which where the person is unable to control one's impulses and just acts by impulse and instinct. ये करने का मन हुआ, कर डाला, without vichar. Ayuktaha again means uncontrolled, unfocused, wavering in mind all the time, impulse driven. Shataha, so many adjectives. Bhagwan has filled this shloka with adjectives. Shataha person is one who says that I don't care about other people's opinions, but mine is right and I believe my vichar is the best. Such people also become fanatics. You know fanaticism, which is a form of violence. It is a form of hinsa. My opinion is the right one. अरे भाई दूसरों को भी सुन लो, आप सही हैं, आप अपने जीवन में खुश हैं, all right. But fanaticism is the limit to which the shataha, tamasic person, will go. Naishkritikaha, naishkritikaha. He doesn't mind becoming malicious or deceitful or cunning or lying, just so that he gets that little pleasure or the little man or samman or little comfort from someone else. कि अरे मान सम्मान मिल रहा है ना, छोटा मोटा झूठ बोलने में क्या होता है. Naishkritikaha, that kind of deceitfulness Bhagwan is not accepting. Stabdha, stabdha means unbending. Unbending is the same as becoming, एक अकड़ रहती है कि I'm not going to suspend my judgment and listen to you. What I believe is my last belief. Alasaha, alasaha we know, this alasya is a quality of the tamasic people, but they are alasi even about reflection. कि अरे जीवन पर कौन reflect करे, जरूरत क्या है. So there is a spiritual laziness, there is an intellectual laziness, and of course there is a physical laziness where people are overindulging in food and drink and comfort and sleep and idling away their time. So such kind of life leads to in alertness. How can they be alert? How can a mind which is overindulgent or idle be alert, be sharp, and have that capacity, that stage to be able to absorb high knowledge? No. So it becomes tamas, it becomes dull and dark, and it does not recognize its own duties. Now our duties have been ordained according to our varna and our ashram. वर्ण के हिसाब से देखें तो अगर हम ब्राह्मण हैं, not Brahman by birth but Brahman by pravritti, by inclination, then teaching and learning becomes my duty. If my natural inclination is towards business, Vaishya dharma becomes my dharma, and earning money and having enough money to be able to generously share with society becomes my dharma, my duty. These are duties not recognized by the tamasic person. He says, duty? What duty? As long as I am comfortable, as long as my needs are taken care of, I am fine. And our duties have also been ordained according to the varna. No, varna I just mentioned, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, according to our ashram. If I am in Brahmacharya ashram, I have to do my studies diligently. If I am Grihastha ashram, I have to make sure that I bring up a family where Shastra is protected, where knowledge is protected, where money is earned, and I give a decent education to the family. And also a Grihastha has to serve the others in the society. But in our families, we are not able to give the Shastra Gyan to our families. So that means we are only half a Grihastha. We are just saying, okay, so I am going to look after your material needs and make sure you have money and wealth and comfort, education, good teachers, the best of colleges, the best of the highest fees in the best school, and I have done my best for you. No, we have done the best materially for our family. As a Grihastha, we have not done our best spiritually. If our Shastra, we have not bothered to find out about Shastra and not passed it on to the family, that family is only half educated. So our duties in Grihastha are also ordained. Where do we pick up these qualities? In families, in education, compassion. In fact, when we were talking about Rajasic ambition, where does it come from? It comes from education, which says, no, you have to race ahead. आप लोग के ranking दी जाएगी. Ranking first, second, third? What do you mean? These are not race horses. These are children with different faculties, with different abilities, different ways of blossoming and learning. But we give them ranking and we make them race horses, and then we say that no, success and failure is going to define you in life. So they carry this notion of success and failure right through their ambitions in the corporate world and Grihastha life and make themselves miserable. Whereas the simple truth is that I am happy if everyone around me is happy. That definition of happiness is never given to them. We are making our society Rajasic by putting them into ambitious competition. For example, things are turning around now. When we go to schools and do our trainings and all, we're trying to see that the games that the children play are not competitive, but they are cooperative games. For example, the simple game of musical chairs. Like all our old traditional games, it is based on competition. Those who can run the fastest, those who can be pushy, those who can push around, and those who can be deceitful, they are going to grab the chairs. And of course, they will be declared the winner. And then there will be accolades and prizes and chocolates. We have grown up with that notion. The new game of musical chairs says, yes, there will be less number of chairs, one less than the number of participants. And in each round, one chair will be removed. But the condition is that everyone has to be seated. Everyone. No one gets out. Arey, how is this possible, bhai? This is possible only if I grab a seat and make sure somebody else can sit in my lap. Grab someone else and give that person some place on my lap. गोदी में बैठा हूं मैं. फिर वो सेकेंड राउंड में चेयर्स और कम हो गई तो वो भी गोदी में बैठा हुआ तीसरे को अपने गोदी में बैठाए. द कंडीशन ऑफ सक्सेस इन दिस गेम इज आप किसी को न छोड़ें. Everyone must get a seat, no matter how many chairs are being removed. If we play these games, can the world become Rajasic, ambitious and vengeful and materialistically aggressive? No, it cannot. We are the ones who have trained people into Rajasic life. There are so many such games, like you hand out balloons with the names of children to all the children, and they are told, okay, now you got all the balloons mixed up. There is one name on each balloon. You may grab one balloon and then go around the room and find the balloon with your name on it. Usually, you know what happens, because we are trained in competition. We are told that the one who finds his own name the fastest will be the winner. We go around, dash about, meeting so many people, in the process bursting their balloons also, and dash about, mera naam kahan hai, mera naam kahan hai, mera balloon. And then the teacher says, stop. There is a simple way to do it. Just make sure you read the name on the balloon which you got. So it's not my name, it belongs to someone else. Just read that name and go and look for that person in the room and hand out that balloon to the person it belongs to. Each one does only that, finds one person, and within 2 minutes everyone has got, because somebody else will find my name on it, and somebody else will come to me and say, hey, I got a balloon with your name on it, and I get mine. Within 2 minutes everything is sorted out. These are not the games we play. We are giving our children the wrong training, and then we say, oh, what has happened to this world? Why is it so aggressive? And Duryodhan ka ambition and Dhritarashtra ki attachment and all. This 6,000 years, this Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, their qualities will not change in us, because we are nurturing those qualities of Rajasic. For example, in the same family, same education also. Now, if I am not cultivating certain qualities in myself, in the next janam, I may be in a family where there are mixed gunas. Ravan, Vibhishan and Kumbhakaran. Ravan, of course, we know that he was extremely Rajasic. Why am I not calling him Tamasic? Because he was highly educated. He knew the scriptures. He knew what is tapas. We have to respect his scholarly knowledge. But he was Rajasic, ambitious and full of desire, calm. Okay, so he was Rajasic. What about Kumbhakaran, the third brother? 6 months he would sleep, and the next 6 months he would wake and eat. So eat and sleep, Kumbhakaran. These are symbols in all our stories. They are symbols, Kumbhakaran. And then there was Vibhishan. Vibhishan is the one Ram embraced after destroying Lanka and said, I respect you. Why? Because he was the only Sattvic brother. So Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic is not only found in one family, it can be found in one classroom, all mixed in one community, and all mixed even in one person like ourselves. हमारे खुद में Sattvic, Rajasic और Tamasic सब mixed है. So when this person who is now neglecting his duties, the Tamasic person, he becomes, in the second line Bhagavan says, verse number 28, Vishadi Dirgha Sutri. He becomes Vishadi, because then he knows he has neglected his duty, he may not get his due rewards, and so he becomes fearful and morose. Naturally, when we neglect our duties, we know koi na koi apman karega hamara. We know it at the back of the mind. The only person who is fearless is the one who has served selflessly and surrendered and has performed selflessly, is fearless. So Vishadi. Those who avoid their duty are the ones who are filled with this kind of fear. Dirgha Sutri, another adjective used by Bhagavan. Dirgha Sutri is the one who procrastinates. When work is given to them, they do it with such disinterest that they drag the piece of work on and on and on instead of completing it. Dirgha means long, prolonging the work and dragging it. This is also negligence. You might as well not do it, and instead of doing it badly or dragging it. So, a real seeker, wherever he sees Rajasic, Tamasic rising in him, he has to stop, become conscious of it, and become alert. That is why Bhagavan has named so many qualities. Ayukta, Prakrita, Stabdaha, Shataha. That is unsteady, unbending, fanatic, cheating, malicious, lying, despondent, procrastinating. These are such an agent is a Tamasic agent. So what did we see so far? The Sattvic personality is characterized by fortitude, forbearance, the ability to karta, I'm talking about karta, enthusiasm and zeal and cheerfulness, unmoved by success or failure. Sattvic person. Rajasic karta, ambitious for phal, I want the reward, passionate, greedy for more, and therefore buffeted by joys and sorrows. The one who is greedy will be buffeted by joys and sorrows. And tamasic karta, we have seen, has very little control over his own impulses and instincts. ये मन में आया वो कर डालो, and therefore ये मुझे चाहिए, किसी न किसी तरीके से चाहिए, तो मैं झूठ बोल के भी ले सकता हूँ. And in order to get some मान and samman and badhai in society, I may tell lies about something about my achievements or family. So a person becomes deceitful, malicious, cunning for very low reasons, becoming spiritually very poor and empty. But a tamasic person is very eager to receive. ये भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए, but very reluctant to give. That is, these are the qualities. तो जैसा हमारा ज्ञान, in short, to summarize, जैसा हमारा ज्ञान होगा, that is understanding of the world, वैसे ही हमारे कर्म होंगे और वैसे ही हमारा personality कर्ता होगा. So what is it that I can wash off? I am doing all the kriya. So who is doing the kriya, all the actions? Rajasic, tamasic and sattvic. My body is doing the action, isn't it? So I can go wash my body in the Ganga. It will become pure. No. But the action, kriya, is not pure or impure. It is the rag, the attachment behind it, which makes it pure or impure. And that rag, unfortunately, that attachment, that greed, that passion, that deceitfulness, I cannot wash off in the Ganga. That's the problem. मैं करता हूँ, I use my body for action, but my body can be washed outwardly by the Ganga, but not my avaguna, which is the Rajasic and Tamasic. But Bhagavan goes on to say, which we will take up next time in verses 29 onwards, the next 3 verses Bhagavan says, इस कर्ता के पीछे एक बुद्धि होती है और एक धृति. धृति means determination and बुद्धि means intellect. हाँ, ये तो मालूम है. तो intellect is what decides कि मुझे क्या करना है, choice, and धृति, determination, is what keeps me on the course firmly so that I complete that work. तो मुझे धृति भी चाहिए, बुद्धि भी चाहिए in order to achieve anything. But Bhagavan says, not so fast. Remember, even the buddhi has 3 qualities of sattva, rajas, tamas, and your determination, dhriti, also has sattva, rajas, tamas. So that Bhagavan is going to explain 29th verse onwards next time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnamudaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। हरि ओम। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। 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 श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो 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 नमः। हरि ओम। श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। हरि ओम।